Hello guys. Okay, so this episode I wanted to take a little bit of time to go over how I like to set up my document, and it's going to involve a primitive called color mode. And let me get into it and kind of show you what I mean. So the first things first, let's go to our primitive create canvas, right? So if you recall, a primitive is just a function that's already determined by the library. So I'm going to change this to 640 by 480. And this kind of like, it gives us this like wider canvas. This is kind of like a percentage of the 1920 by 1080 resolution that you see in like most like videos, etc., videos and games, right? So I like to use this actually specifically because of Flash games. Flash games would oftentimes have a similar resolution to this, and like, RIP Flash. But, this is a good resolution to start at. Sometimes you can kind of do whatever you want, but this is kind of how most of my things, that's how I'll start off most of my things. So let's type in something called color mode, right? Just referenced that a second ago. In color mode, we're going to change to HSB. So by default, right, this is in RGB. So let's say I didn't have this, right? This was just deleted, right? I didn't have color mode. This is going to be in RGB, and that's red, blue, green, right? So you're going to play with the red, blue, green values. So you're going to type something like this, like 200, 150, 50, and all of those values will come together to equal, right, the color that you see here, right? And for me, that's a little bit confusing to always have to think about, like every time you want to make a color. So I like to change it to color mode HSB. So it uses hue, saturation, brightness. So now, if let's say we take the same thing, I think it was 250, 150, 50, when we press play, we get a whole different color because there's a whole new set of arguments that's happening in this function. So the first argument is going to be the hue. So that's going to go from 0 to 360. 0 is going to give us a bright red. 360 is also going to give us a red, and every shade in between those values, right? So if I type 180, I should get a blue. I think like 120 is green or something similar. And I think like higher up, like 255 is like purple. So this is like how you would just control all of your hue, like your just base color in one value. So this is really fun because now I can move to saturation. Now saturation goes from 0 to 100. Saturation goes from 0 to 100, and it just shows how saturated or how vibrant like a thing is, right? So if I want to go 0, right, that's just going to give me a gray color. It's just going to give me something gray and flat. And if I go up, like I'll start to get like more of a pastel, right? It's a little bit more muted, but the color is still there. And maximum at 100 is going to give me my full color. And the last one is brightness. If I turn the brightness to 0, it's black, right? Because it's the lightness of a color. 50, we're gonna get midway, and 100, we're gonna get a blaring green. But 50, it's a little easier on the eyes for this. So I'm gonna do like 75, 50, right? Just so we have something that's nice and like muted. It's not like crazy. So let's see. Let me see if I want to address anything else in this. This is just a quick tutorial on how to set up a document and just kind of get yourself ready. Of course, you would start going in and defining your variables, but it would depend on what you want to do. But this is kind of the early things that I do to give my canvas a good setup. So I just wanted to touch on that. And thank you guys. I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Now, tonight's adventure into the unknown, into the world of...
Hold on to your